It's those choices that we made in our life that often we go back and revisit in our mind and we think, what if I'd have chosen the other option? Welcome, queens and kings, to How to Improve Your Mental Health, part 25. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about making decisions. Before we get started, I would love if you decided to hit that like button. And while you're here, if you're new, hit that subscribe button and join the One App community. We've got a message to spread, folks. As humans, we make hundreds, if not thousands of decisions every day. Most of those decisions your brain does subconsciously without you even thinking about it. A lot of things you do on autopilot because that's how powerful your brain is. It doesn't even need you to tell it what to do. It decides for you. And most of those smaller decisions or those autopilot decisions probably don't affect your mental health as much as you think they would. What we're talking about today is those decisions that do impact your mental health, positively or negatively. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to make decisions that are best for your positive mental health. There's a lot of advice on the internet about how to make decisions, and a lot of it is very relevant, but the content that I was looking at was mainly aimed at how to make decisions, especially when you've got time to make decisions, because a lot of them mention that you need to think about things. I want to talk about scenarios when you don't have a lot of time to think and you've got to make a flash decision. My advice in those scenarios is always do the right thing. That's how I'm trying to live my life. I haven't always lived like that, and it's caused me loads of problems because I've not always done the right thing, and ultimately later those decisions come back to haunt you. You could make a decision with the best of intentions thinking that it's the right thing. It might not transpire to have been the right decision weeks, months, years later, but we have to make a choice in that moment. It's those choices that we made in our life that often we go back and revisit in our mind and we think, what if I'd have chosen the other option? What if I'd have gone a completely different way of doing what I'd have done? And those are the kinds of things that cause a lot of mental health issues, particularly with relationships. What if I hadn't said that? What if I'd have gone there? What if I'd have ignored the text? What if I'd have replied to the text? Big decisions are always what we come back to think about. And I'm going to tell you something now. If you've got a major decision to make in your life, or even a semi-major decision to make in your life, you can be sure that that decision will impact your mental health somehow. I can't tell you whether it's going to be positive or negative because I don't know what your scenario is. But what I will tell you is that when you make a decision either way, ultimately that is going to affect your mental health. And what we're trying to talk about here is how can we make decisions that influence our mental health positively. At this point in my life, I try and make decisions that are best for my mental health. Earlier this year, I quit my job. I really believed in that moment that leaving my job was the best thing to do for my mental health. I had to get out of there. I'm going to make some more content about leaving work and those decisions that I had to make later down the line, so definitely subscribe if you want to catch those videos. At that time, I thought the best thing for my mental health was that I had to get out of that place, so I decided to leave. Nobody else I know, by the way, just walks out of a job without having anything else to do. People do it, but no one I know. And so I was quite individual in that sense that I did something. No one in the department we were working in would have done that, just walked out. And I did it, and I had to do it because I had to protect up here. And then what's ended up happening is, as a result of me leaving, I have had a better mental health situation than I had when I was in the place, but I've had other mental health issues crop up as a result of me leaving. So even though I took a decision that was in my best interest at that time, that decision has ended up with other issues coming into my head. Like now, as a result of not being in work, I have way less human contact with people. That's affected my mental health. As a result of not being in work, I've got way less money. Of course, that's affected my mental health. When I used to be in work, it gives you a sense of belonging. It gives you a sense of purpose. You're all in it together. You're all feeling the emotions every day, particularly in a sales job. You're there every day together. There's that camaraderie, community spirit. I lost a lot of that. A lot of that now I get from friends on Instagram and friends on TikTok and friends on this platform. Shout out to everybody online who shows me love, by the way. I couldn't do this without you. But the point is that when you make a decision, albeit you try to do it with the best of intentions, it can still end up causing you negative mental health issues, and you need to always bear these things in mind when you're making decisions. I truly believe that most of us know the difference between right and wrong. I think definitely most of us know what's the right thing to do and what's not. And if you then choose to deliberately not do the right thing, I'll give you an example. If you choose to cheat on your partner, then you have to be prepared for the consequences of that action. You made the decision. And I love linking all these videos together, and this definitely links up with a video I made about accountability. You have to be accountable for your actions. We also talked about intentions. If you make decisions based on good intentions, pure heart, if you make decisions from a clean intention and a pure heart, that's as much as you can do. Other issues might arise afterwards, but in that moment, you've got to try and make the best decision for that moment, because you can't be sure what your decision will affect things in the future. You have to take a decision in that moment. I found something else out about a year and a half ago, which was that being indecisive is a trauma response. It's got to do with something that you've experienced, a bad situation that you went through, a trauma, and somehow traumas in our life can actually lead to us being indecisive. If you are somebody who's constantly indecisive and you can't choose either way, then and find out what the root cause of the problem is, because often it might be buried so deep down that you don't even know what's causing that issue. But indecisiveness is a trauma response. All of us on some level have to live with the decisions that we make. On some level, even if it's directly impacting the people around you, even if other people know, even if only you know. If you're a religious person, you'll believe that God knows. If you're a spiritual person, you'll believe that the universe knows. On some level, on an energy level, your decisions send ripples in the universe, energy ripples. If you choose to do something consciously and you choose the wrong thing on purpose, if you deliberately choose something that hurts other people, or if you deliberately choose something that causes harm to others, or you deliberately choose something that's only beneficial for you, there is every chance that later down the line you're going to start feeling guilt or remorse or regret. And that's why it's better to really think about making the right decision in the moment. I know so many people that make rash decisions and they don't learn from them. And if you make a rash decision at the moment, you might make a decision, and I'm not trying to scare you by saying this, by the way, I've lived this. I've made decisions in my life in the heat of the moment that have literally affected the rest of my life. It's that extreme. I've made decisions in my life 15 years ago, 20 years ago, decisions that I'm gonna live with till the end of my days. And a lot of us will face those situations. I was speaking to a single mother that I know earlier that was saying to me, I've got 3 kids, my partner doesn't contribute, and I'm really struggling financially. And I said, you can decide to change that. That's the power of making a decision. You have the power to make a decision to change it. And that's another aspect of decision making. Decision making gives you power, and some people are not good with power. Some people don't want the power. Some people don't want to make a decision. Try asking your partner what takeaway you should order tonight. You'll soon get an idea of decision making. As I'm talking about power and decisions, you know already how I feel about corporations and governments and the way that people with money make decisions. A lot of people with money have no remorse. A lot of people in those positions of power abuse that power and make decisions which are greedy and beneficial only to them. And that is a classic example of people making the wrong decisions consciously. They know they're doing the wrong thing and they continue to do it anyway. And I just think that in the world that we're living in now, for ourselves, we need to make decisions that positively impact our own lives and the lives of the people directly around us. I said earlier I made decisions that have affected the rest of my life. I also made decisions that affected the rest of the lives of the people that I was surrounded with at the time. I made decisions that were very, very damaging to other people's lives, and I didn't think about it at the time. And only now, when I'm trying to be on the right path and I'm trying to do good things in the world, do I realize just how severe those decisions were. I've often said to people, if you make decisions, there might be a decision that you make which will literally affect the rest of your life, and you'll never be able to take that decision back. And that's what I'm trying to get through to you, is the decisions that you make could impact the rest of your life if that's the level of importance on that decision that you've got to make. So you really, really need to consider all of your options before moving forward, even in the heat of the moment. Working on your mental health is always a work in progress. Working on your mental health is a constant thing. It's not once you've done it, it's fixed. And as such, making decisions is a constant thing. Making decisions that impact your lives and the lives of others, the power's in your hand. And by the way, everything that we've spoken about in this series of videos is linked to making decisions. We were talking about the basics at the start of this series. You can decide to drink more water or not. You can decide to eat well or not. You can decide to meditate or not. That's completely your choice. And then we go into the part of the videos where it's all about your relationship with yourself. Well, on a similar note, you can choose to practice self-love or not. You can choose to be grateful or not. All of these decisions are in your power. If I'm going to leave you with one message from this video, it is a lot of the decisions that you make consciously have the potential to impact your mental health and the mental health and lives of every single person around you. Even people that you're not directly related with. Remember that. I'll give you an example. If you as an employee choose to be sick from work when you're not really sick, your absence causes impacts to your colleagues, your department, your customers. I mean, like if you're working in a call center, you don't know your customers, they just dial you up in a call center. But if you choose not to be there that day, that affects those customers, you not being there to answer the phones. That affects your colleagues, that affects your department, it affects your team. So every decision that we make on a conscious level can impact your mental health, positively or negatively. Which way you go, that will depend on the decision that you make. Folks, I'm not an expert at making decisions, I never have been. I'm a decision maker. I'll gladly take a decision because I've got responsible shoulders, and often those decisions have not been great, but I made them anyway because no one else would. And if you're ever put in that position, then just try and do your best for the situation, trying to consider everyone in mind. But the biggest thing I'm going to leave you with in this video is if you've got to make a decision, try and do the right thing. There's a core value on our website, which is moral compass. If you try and do right things by the universe and the world and the people around you, as well as yourself, you can't go far wrong in life. I've been making so many big decisions over the last few days. You can catch some of them in Urban Hippie Vlog episode 8, which will be out on Friday. I shall take your leave now, folks. It's been a pleasure as always. I'll be back tomorrow with the next installment of the How to Improve Your Mental Health series. My name is Ches Sheikh. I'm the Urban Hippie. Big love and blessings to you. We all need a positive